rolling like a geezer.
Welcome, everybody. It's once again time for your favorite show on the interwebs. It's Graybeard's Studio. You know, the great thing about this show is it's unpredictable. You never know what you're going to get. And today you might get nothing because no one has showed up yet, except, of course, everybody's favorite Grump. But I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the other one, Gary Martin. Gary, welcome. And let me say, wholeheartedly, thank you for showing up.
And I was late.
And you were late, but...
So you were sweating.
I was. I thought it was just going to be me, Aaron Live again. But no, so we're hoping that, of course, David Williams might be just running a little bit late. And
He'll let you know, like, if he can't make it.
Yeah, he would call me, I would think, and I don't think he's called. Now, of course, Kelsey has been missing in action for, I think, 3 weeks now. So
can we imagine the amount of work that he will have compiled when he resurfaces?
Gary, I'm imagining it really well, very vividly. And it better be the last 30 pages of Kit Carter is what it better be when he
you imagine it every night that
I do
you awake.
I think is tomorrow the day? Anyway, so yeah, so we're gonna effectively stall at least till David shows up. And I sent out invites to a couple of people to guest host with us today, and they of course did not get back to me. So I don't know. Is this like the end of the world? Are we the only last two people on the earth, and maybe we just aren't aware of it yet? I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I saw some dogs, like unattended dogs, wandering like in front of my house. So like, is that a sign?
Yeah, it might be. It might very well be the problem here. But I do have a ton. We're going to be fighting. I said this a little bit in the green room. We're going to be fighting over. It's not just what's Gary's beef today, but what's Aaron's beef. Can I have plenty from San Diego that I would be just thrilled to share with everybody. But first, let's take a look at the chat and see who is joining us. Even though there's no one on the show, there's people waiting for the show, and at least they showed up. And so Spambot is here, and he says, welcome back. Thank you.
Our trick will be to keep them watching.
That's right. Now that they know no one's here, do they care about us? That's what we're going to find out today.
Yep. So this is a personal challenge.
It is. Corum's here. He says, I was hoping swords would win, but bring on big guns and bigger bullets. This was Gary's category choices, by the way.
I actually got the idea, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Someone in the chat mentioned something about a category like this, and I tweaked it a little bit, but I stole it from somebody in the chat. And help me out if you remember who it was.
Well, someone suggested, I can't remember what it was. It was a third category. They said you had the gals with guns, gals with swords, and you had gals with muscles. But somebody had suggested a different one for to replace the gals with muscles. It was actually pretty good. And now I can't remember what it was. So as my mom would say, well, it must not have been important then. So, but anyway, Leg Kick is here because Leg Kick is almost always here. JV Stylor missed the poll, but that's right up my alley. Hope Kelsey does Gunsmith Cats. Well, I wouldn't count on Kelsey doing anything today, at least on this show. Creative Face here. She says hi. She's saying hi to everybody, hoping everybody will be here. And of course, no one is. Hi, Aaron, Kelsey, David, and Gary. Hope you all have fun. I think it's a lame topic, but I was to draw along.
She was giving us crap, or giving me crap.
Yeah, specifically you, I think, is
on Twitter. So Creative Faye, you might become the subject of What's Gary's Beef if you don't watch it.
Yeah, watch yourself there, April. You're going to get yourself in trouble. Richard Cahill is here. He says, perfect topic for Malin as a special guest star. It'd be perfect topic actually for anyone to be a guest star at this point. We're not going to be too picky about who it is. Let's see here. Ronan says Baroness. Well, I used her in the little
there's tons of.
There
even
is.
if you just make someone up.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking I could actually draw Esther, right, from Wraith of God. She's a gun-toting babe. So, Dad's Den of Pop Culture. You know, the fembots from Austin Powers combine girl and gun. Definite possibility there.
There you go.
Repairman Jack. Hail Graybeards. When will the next Wraith book probably launch, Aaron? At the end of this month, last week of this month. Repairman Jack is when I have it planned. I'm working on artwork for it right now so that I can actually get a video made. I can't even get my trailer video made because I don't have any new artwork for him to use in the trailer. So all those things are happening very quickly. Angela Curry is here. She says, oh boy, this is going to be good. And then she's like, sees who's here. And she's like, maybe not.
Angela usually shows up like halfway through the show. So we got to give her credit for.
She's early and disappointed. Pantheon, greetings and salutations, chat and Graybeards. Duck Bacon is here. Rand, Arrington, Ronan. He says, Aaron, if you need reference for today, let me know and I'll give you some manga recommendations.
That's true. They use that theme quite a bit. They as manga creators.
Here's a theme I like to use quite a bit. I don't like we don't mention manga on this show unless we absolutely have to.
How many times have I seen that?
And yet you got to wonder about that guy who did that. I
know, but I'm just saying.
Always
at least 100 times I've seen that, and I still laugh.
It's good times. Good times here. Birdman Burr is here. Marcus Killigrew, purveyor of all things pop culture knowledge, is joining us. Lone Star Viper. Let's see here. There's me. Let's see here. Sean Allen's here. Are the stragglers anything like stragglers? Me, of course, he's pointing out the fact that I probably spelled it wrong. Because I don't even know, is that really a word, stragglers?
Stragglers? Of course it is.
Okay. NPC Oasis, are they scrags? Yes. Let's see.
What's
Nolan
that?
Lockhart, muscle women should have won. Boo. If we got to do muscle women, I think I like She-Hulk, but I can't think of, I guess maybe like Thundra would be one. And who's Big Barda, I guess.
Big Barda. Yeah, there you go. Top of the list.
Yeah. Are we going to get any Andy Sedaris characters? I know. I'm trying to think. I know the name, but I can't place it.
See, I don't even know the name.
No, okay. Stealth X5 is here. Marcus Kilgrew again. He goes, good. I was going to watch Megyn Kelly instead. So screw us. Stealth X5 for $2. Hello, he says. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Stealth starting off with $2. Thank you, Stealth.
Dolomite came here for Kelsey Shannon and him alone. Well, then you're going to be very lonely. Eric Wart is here. Wesley Gleason, Jay Dredd, Fat Tony's joining us. Let's see. Skull Nasher.
Is Fat Tony really fat?
I don't know.
You know how nicknames can be opposite?
Mm-hmm.
He could be like, super skinny.
Yeah, he could be.
Or muscular. Really,
That's true. Or maybe how the kids say, "Oh, that song was fat."
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
That's
or whatever.
PH.
Yeah, but he didn't spell it that way, so I guess we can't really use
so
that.
I think that's a 50-50. He could be like Arnold, or he could be like Chris Farley.
Wesley Gleason says, "What's Simon Bisley doing? Probably drinking."
How would we know? You give us way too much credit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think Bisley's set up to draw, but I mean, he'd probably come on and say a few funny things, though. I'm sure of that. Iodine 74, he's a monster. Old Dirty Fatty. Is Old Dirty Fatty fat too? Probably. Maybe not, though. I don't know. Brian Norton,
like super clean and skinny.
He's like skinny and super clean. It makes perfect sense. Brian Norton, all the way from Japan, is joining us. Thank you for that. Let's see here. Okay, Fat Tony's laughing. He thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, well, he's not denying or confirming anything.
Well, I know he says really re. Does that mean really fat or really? I don't
know.
See, you got two old codgers here that don't understand the
yeah, all
young
this
vernacular out there.
Exactly. I'm constantly looking stuff up on Twitter. Like, what is this the abbreviation? I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, I know. I do that all the time too. I'm like, what does LMAO mean? I finally figured that one out. But yeah, there's a lot of those. It's just like people will do the abbreviation for it. Like, it's just like common language. I'm like, I have no idea what this means.
It's like military talk, just yeah.
It's code. You got to know stuff. Well, okay, so it's still just you and me. And so let's
some time to kill.
Let's go ahead and take a look at some artwork. I know that you got something here you want to share with us. So let's take a look at this. Now, correct. I'm confused. Did you do a second one of these? Is this, or did you revisit the old one you did?
This is the second one. I did one about 12 years ago.
Right. I remember that one. And I was like, well, you were showing this on Twitter. And I was like, wait a minute. Because the way you talked about it, it was like you redid it. I was like, is he crazy enough to redo that?
Well, 12 years, the pain is a distant memory.
Exactly. It's like you go to a show and you go, it's so bad. You go, I'm never going to the show again. Then 5 years later,
then,
like, hey, you want to come to the show? And you're like, yeah, sure.
Exactly. So someone had been bugging me, and I have up until now, I've had a policy of not repeating recreations. But enough time had passed, and I just kind of wanted to challenge myself more than anything else, just to see if I could even do it. Because this is all brush inking,
right?
And I couldn't think of anything harder aside from that Rice and Frankenstein piece that I could do with a brush that was more difficult. And the guy offered me a ridiculous amount of money.
Well, that's kind of the bottom line right there, right?
Like, yeah.
That'll get you motivated pretty quickly.
Yeah. So it was it was harder than I remember. And it's just all layers of cross hatching, and I use different shades of ink. Some of it is dark black and some of it is, kind of grayish.
When you do something like this, especially this complicated, are you looking to try and do it exactly the way Bolin did, like by looking at the original, or are you kind of just winging it a little bit, knowing kind of how you know what I mean?
There's a little bit of both. I have a copy of the original, on my drawing table, and I refer to it like every few seconds. But there's no way of, matching every single line.
Right.
And especially his crosshatch patterns in a lot of this are kind of random. Mine tend to be more,
structured,
thought out. His are more random. And so he's just building up the gray tones with layers of lines based on, his judgment. And that's really hard to emulate when somebody else does that. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think when you crosshatch, like on Wraith, I think that's what you do, is you just add layers until you're happy with it.
Right. There's no necessarily, I don't do any, when I do it with a brush, when I cross hatch with the brush, I'm very structured. But when I do it with a pen, it's one step up from scribbling. And so, yeah.
And then you just say, oh, it needs a little more here, it needs a little more there. And you just keep doing it until you stop.
Right.
Trying to reproduce that is really hard, because your thought process is more about the value excuse me, of the light and dark, not about each line that you're putting down and the direction of the line and all that. So anyway, that's what Bolin was doing here. So it wasn't easy, but I'm happy with the way it came out, and the client is super happy.
Oh, I'm sure. Now, I don't know if I asked you this before, but does Scott Williams own the first one you did?
He owned it I think he owned it at some point in time. I don't know if he still does, but I think he owned it at a certain time, and he made a comment on, I think, when I did the original recreation back then, that he gave me a thumbs up.
Yeah, I remember there was something he posted on Comics Art Gallery, but and I thought, oh, that's nice to get a little thumbs up from Scott Williams. And and like I said, I thought for sure at some point that he did actually own that piece.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of remembering that he might have.
Yeah. Scott's got, my gosh, he's got an art collection that is
Yeah. No.
And that's, and what I heard was basically that he took all those Jim Lee X-Men pages and traded them for, you know, Barry Smith originals and Wrightson originals and Frazetta originals. You know, can you imagine?
Yeah,
because that Jim Lee stuff is worth a ton.
Yeah, Terry Austin did the same thing. That he had this incredible collection, and he told me he was just trading Byrne X-Men pages for high-end stuff.
You know, I was at San Diego, obviously, this last weekend, and I was over at Albert Moy's booth flipping around, and I was just stunned at the price on some of the artwork, and then also that he had like portfolios laid out in a table all around him, right? So he had like two booths. One was a corner, and then, you know, it just extended down, so it was a, you know, elongated booth. And I was flipping through the portfolios on the table, and there were Barry Smith Conan pages in there, and they were like 11K, 17K, you know, and I'm just like, okay, first of all,
I know what you're going to say, because my thought process would be the same.
Yeah, I was like, can I steal this without him seeing me?
Yeah, hey, you kids, get off of that.
Exactly. But then the other thing was, who in the world has got this kind of money? You know?
Well,
it's a 17. I mean, it was a 17K for an interior page.
That's why he prices it, because people pay it. And there is a world out there that you and I have not, you know, had the privilege to look at.
Yeah, I know, we're not.
They buy and sell artwork like that all the time.
Well, he still had that Neil Adams painting from last year that was a it was that black and white magazine that Atlas put out called like Amazing Adventure Things. It really had a lame name, but it was a really good magazine, black and white magazine, right, to kind of compete with Savage Tales or whatever. And he did this painting, watercolor, for the cover to the second issue, I believe it was. And it's got this Khazar looking guy and this big bear monster coming up behind him, and there's something in the foreground coming out. It's a great piece. And $50,000. He had it last year, and it was still there.
Well, I think that a lot of those art dealers do that, is they get their hands on stuff they want to keep, but it's their business, and so then they jack up the price, and if they get it,
right, they don't feel so bad about parting with it.
Right.
He also had a Frazetta, John Carter of Mars black and white illustration from. Actually, I've got it on my phone. Maybe I can show it. From the, you know, those Doubleday hardcover book collections that had the John Carter of Mars stories in them, and Frazetta did spot illustrations for him.
Mm-hmm.
He had one, and let me see if I can dig it up here. There it is. I'll make myself full screen here for a second. See if you guys can.
Oh yeah.
You recognize that one, right? With the guys, $55,000. That could be yours. 55 grand, baby.
Yeah, sheesh. When I was in college, or just after college,
that was over $100,000.
Wow, that's a great cover.
Yeah, Romita. Yeah.
I used to. This is like the old phone book dial phone days. I used to just find out where an artist lived, what city, and then call information and get their phone number. I did that with Will Eisner, with Kirby, with Frazetta. You know,
you call them up, huh?
And I just call them
see you, David. I see you. David's in the back. Let me bring him in real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Late but still talented, David Williams. Woo! The fit whizzle faux shizzle. Very nice. Thanks for joining us, David. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I sent out, as I told Gary, I sent out invitations not only to Dan Lawless, but also to Coran Kaiser Stone, hoping at least one of them would show up, and neither have shown up. So it's the three of us at the moment. So anyway, Gary, so you get their phone numbers and then you call them up?
You just call them up, and I would always get the wives, except for Will Eisner. He answered the phone himself, and I didn't know what to I didn't know what to do. So I talked to Ellie Frazetta, and I talked to Roz Kirby, and that kind of thing. And I asked for prices or catalog for original art, and Roz sent me a list. This was late 70s, probably 78. And Ellie was like, it's like, well, I just like a pen sketch, because I, seen a lot of those published, his pen sketches of barbarians and girls with leopards and, stuff like that. And she said, well, we don't have a catalog. You just send us the money. It was $100. Send us the money and we'll send you something. And I was
This
like,
was Frazetta?
Yeah.
$100.
Yeah. Will I know what it is? I mean, can I see the image? And for me, $100 at that time was a lot of money.
Yeah, but
I mean, that was a lot of money for me back then. And she said, no, we don't have a catalog. I'll just send you something. And I couldn't do it. I wanted for $100. I wanted to see what it was going to be. Yeah. And then contacted the Kirbys, and Rosalind sent me a 3-page price list of the stuff that Jack was doing at the time at Marvel. And that was, at that time, that was after his DC Fourth World stuff. So he had returned. What is that?
Blood orange Italian soda.
Yeah.
You recommend it? Is that why you're showing it?
Oh yeah.
He drank the whole thing. He drank the whole thing. Must be good.
So she sends me this list, and all his Marvel covers that he was doing at that time, except Captain America, Avengers covers, Invaders, he was doing a lot of covers for Marvel at that time.
Right.
$50 each.
Woo!
Now tell us why you didn't get one of those.
Well, his Captain America covers were $85.
Wow. It's crazy.
His Captain America interior pages were $50. And there were some really good ones. And so I ended up getting an interior page.
Yeah, do you still
for
have it?
$50.
Do you still have it?
No. But I did really good on it.
Okay, well, I can imagine.
Really good. But just the idea that he was selling his covers back then for $50.
I know, it's nuts. People were getting like rights and originals, and he would hand color them, like in that, that Color the Creature coloring book he did. Yeah. He would like sell the originals and then color those for like $300. Or you could get the black and white for $200 or whatever. And it's just like, I mean, that was a lot of money in the 70s, but not compared to what they're worth now.
Right.
Oh, it's crazy talk. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I had to eat ramen noodles for a long time just to
I would eat ramen noodles for the rest of my life to get one of Frazetta drawings. David, do you have anything you want to share with us by chance? Did I just wake you up?
He's getting more soda.
You mean art-wise?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Your mic's muffled. There you go. Now you're back.
Is that better? Oh, because I walked away from it.
Yeah. Stealth X5 for $2 says, does Gary have any corn dog news? Oh, he'll have something later, I'm sure.
I don't have specific corn dog news, but I did have corn dogs and watermelon for lunch, so I'm in a good mood.
Wow.
This is for our last Graybeards.
Yeah, you finished that sucker. Well, you finished all this. Did you add anything since the show?
No.
That's a nice piece. No one
No.
has offered to buy that from you yet.
No, of course not.
Oh my God.
Because I suck.
No, it's wonder. That is great.
Yeah, it is a great piece.
I mean, that was at least third best last week.
At least.
At least.
At least.
Yeah, at least third best.
Oh wait, I got something.
Okay.
I shouldn't show it, but I
Show it.
Do it. Show it.
It's from the second issue of Fearsome, which I'm
Oh.
Oh, I don't think I've
slow
seen
on.
anything from that yet.
Oh yeah.
okay. Well, you guys saw the cover,
Yes.
right? Okay. But you saw there it is.
Oh.
This is from inside of Fearsome.
Wow.
Nice. It does.
And that was the second cover.
Right. I think we saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So that's it. There you go.
All right.
Oh man.
So, do you have any pages from the story you're doing for me that you want to share?
Oh yeah. Hold on. Let me get these.
Yeah.
Here we go. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's looking good. I'd like to see a little bit more work done on it than that, but I think
Yeah.
you're heading in the right direction, though, dude.
Yeah.
All right, I do have some stuff to show, so let me do that. Now, as we are waiting for the return of the great Kelsey Shannon, so that I can actually get the Kit Carter to the printer, I am working on Wraith of God 3. So there's going to be, it's going to be multiple covers. I've got a painted cover from someone that we will show later when the campaign goes live. But
Is that a flying head?
No, his hand comes down here, is holding it up by the hair.
Oh, okay. Okay.
This is my this is going to be an EC type cover.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of gruesome.
Yeah. So there you go. So you got the head, the guy's head, the headless horseman's hand here, and he's got the head, and then of course the Wraith and Esther in the background going, "What?"
Yeah.
So that's
What?
I haven't done the finished piece yet, but that's obviously that's the layout for it. I did.
Are you gonna hand letter the logo?
Oh yeah, and I'll be selling the original on the campaign too. So
Nice.
now I made some prints for San Diego, and
you better not charge more than $50 for that original cover. I mean, who do you think you are? Are you better than Kirby?
I know I'm better than Kirby. So I took the cover to Wraith #1 because I really like the image, and it was on the t-shirts as well. And I made these limited edition prints of the Wraith of God, which these will be available. They were available at San Diego, but they'll also be available on the Wraith of God 3 campaign. And I did color that Nouveau one I did. I just got to dig it out. Give me a second here. There it is. So this turned out really well. And this will also be available on the campaign page. Let me unwrap it here. Look at that right there.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we saw the black and white one.
Right, but that's what the color looks like. Pretty much did flat color with some, a little bit of shading in there, some light shading. Yeah. So it was really weird, sort of, doing drawing Esther on here really kind of made sense, but it fit very well with the Muka look. But it was putting the Wraith in there was very contrary to Muka. So it was like trying to figure out how to make that work. I was going to put skulls back here, but I thought maybe that was too grim. So I just put thorn.
Yeah, I like the thorns.
And then of course I had the
thorny.
The best name I can think of says it's got some Linedecker vibe to it.
Oh, okay, I'll take that too. Yeah, the hair and stuff is very stylized on the horse, but it was weird because I had, I've got the Wraith in black here, and then the horse is also black, but I was like obviously can't do black on black. So I went into this really sort of brownish gray, and actually I think it worked pretty well.
Yeah, it does.
So you still have a very dark horse, but you can still see it. speaking of Dark Horse, Mike Richardson came up and talked to me at San Diego, and wanted to go to lunch when we got back. How about that?
So he was just jerking you around that you actually didn't go to lunch?
Well, no, he said I'll forget, so email me and we'll do lunch.
Oh, you mean when you get back?
Yeah, not there.
He wanted to go to lunch so he could jerk him off.
Hey, now, watch it. My goodness.
That's why you said no, y'all.
No, I don't want to do. Yeah, I don't want to go to lunch and do that. If we can go to lunch and actually have lunch, that would be okay. But anything else, I'm not up for that. So this is suddenly becoming my best-selling. I mean, I did do a limited edition of this. My Rosie the Riveteer.
Yeah.
It continues to be a strong seller. So
what do you mean riveteer?
Rosie the Riveteer. Not the Rocketeer. She's a riveter, right? She has a little air gun.
Yeah, but you're like poshing up that word.
Well, how's it pronounced?
Riveter.
Oh, Riveteer. Come on. Anyway, so I went back to press with this and made an open edition so I can just continue to supply the people that dig this image. And it's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
You want those sales to go even further through the roof?
Yeah.
Put Kamala Harris's head on there.
Yeah. Oh, and here's another piece. Look at this. So I had to do a quick thing for the. Let me make this bigger. I had to do a quick thing for the early sign up for Wraith of God, which is now active, by the way. You'll find a link in the description of this video. So I just needed a piece to put on there that would fit that, that shape of a, what am I trying to say? The aspect ratio of the little template that they have.
Yeah. And
so I did this.
Dare I say, Rights and Shadow letters page?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Maybe there's certainly a vibe to that, isn't there?
Yeah.
So this, of course, will be for sale on when the campaign pops open.
That's easily like your best graphic version of this.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Sometimes when you get in a hurry, you're like, you just say, okay, I'm going to do something like really kind of designy and graphic instead of trying to get all, because I spent all my time doing that Nouveau thing. And I was like, I'm never going to get this done by, time to get it printed for San Diego. And I just barely, literally the prints came back Tuesday morning before I left. So, yeah. So, I got them just in time, but yeah.
How do you schlep all your stuff down there?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I have a carry-on and I put all my original art and all the prints in the carry-on. Right. And then my, like if I have a sketch pad to do sketches, I put that in the carry-on. And then I have a big roller bag. I have to check 2 bags. So, you got that $80 bag fee for checking 2 bags. But so I have this big roller duffel bag and I put as much as I can get in there up to 50 pounds, right? Because that's the limit. And then I don't bring a lot of clothes, right? And just enough to get me through. And then I pile a bunch of books and stuff in with with my clothes, wrapped in boxes and stuff. And then I shipped 2 boxes down.
Okay.
Of stuff.
So you bring as much as you can and ship the rest.
Yes, exactly. Which will get me to my one of my what's Aaron's beefs here very shortly about San Diego. David looks like he left us again, but we're hopeful that he'll be back shortly.
I think talking about food and drink distracts him.
Yeah, well, he's the one who started with that.
I know.
Now, I've had blood oranges before. Actual blood oranges. You have to get them at you can't get them like at Safeway. You have to get them like at Whole Foods or one of those places. And I thought they were pretty good. They're just more of a, they're kind of a Chinese red, if you know what I'm saying. They're not
right.
They're not orange, but they got a little bit of red in there, and they're kind of like, I don't know, kind of like grapefruits, but they're not as is sour or tart as grapefruits, but yeah, I used to eat those, but I've never had soda before.
No, I've never seen that. But speaking of fruit, in my new place in the backyard, there's a cherry plum tree. Never even
Now,
heard
is that
of.
like, are they tiny plums?
They're plums. Yes, they're plums the size of cherries, and they look like cherries, only they're a little darker
Mm-hmm.
hue. They're amazing. I mean, when you pick them ripe off the tree, amazing.
Reminds you of your childhood, doesn't it? We used to have tons of trees in our backyard: apple trees, cherry trees, pear tree, plums, and oh my gosh, we just go back there and eat apples.
Yeah. I'm convinced that ripe fruit off a tree is one of God's graces.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. Peaches. Oh my gosh, peaches.
Yes, exactly. And it's peach season's coming up here in a week. Here in Oregon.
What's better is when you take all that fruit and make it into pies. That's when it goes next level.
To me, it's a 50-50 thing. A ripe peach off a tree or peach pie. I couldn't choose.
Well, and that's why you have both. If you have the trees, you can have both, right? So my mom used to can all the time. We'd get all this fruit because you can't eat it fast enough, right? And so she would just can it all. And so we'd have canned peaches or, whatever. Bing cherries were a big one. The big Bing cherries as opposed to high cherries. Hidden Hand Media says apricots are the best. Apricots are good.
Yeah, sleeping. It's claiming that South Carolina peaches are the best. That's fighting words.
Really?
Yeah. Oregon peaches, there's nothing to compare them to.
Oh my gosh. Because I think one of those southern states is it Georgia?
Georgia, yeah. But yeah, the South has great peaches.
Okay.
That would be interesting if you could. Well, I don't know how you could even do that. How could you have a fresh, peach from South Carolina and a fresh peach from Oregon and do a taste test? How could you do that? You'd have to pick them and fly to the other state.
That's right, and have
the same day. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, or maybe you pick them a little bit early, so by the time they get over to the competition, they're ripe.
That diminishes the.
I think you're right
when you pick them.
The tough thing about fruit is you get too much of it. You gotta put it in the refrigerator, which kills the flavor. But it's the only way to keep them from molding because that stuff. I get berries all the time, and they mold so quick.
Yeah, they go bad really fast. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you can't eat them all fast enough. So I have to put them in the refrigerator and then take the diminished taste, which is never great.
Right.
No. Oh, good.
So David's officially gone.
What a show we're having, folks. We're talking about peaches, we're talking about fruit, and we're going to talk about art. And
we're stalling. Let's talk about the topic.
I've got to make a decision here. Would it be wrong of me to do Esther?
No, it's your show.
Well, that's true.
But I think that I was hoping Gals with Guns. Yeah, that's the first time I got what I was hoping for. And that's really wide open. I mean, there's like all these YouTube channels of just girls in bikinis shooting machine guns. So you could go that far if you wanted to.
That's what we call Trump country.
That's right. Yeah, wearing MAGA hats.
David's back. David, have you given any thought to what you're going to draw today? Oh,
David?
Lord.
David might be having
technical difficulties.
Yeah, we see him, his shadow. Can you hear us, David?
Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us. Ladies and gentlemen,
David offends easily.
Yeah, if you want to know what a disaster looks like, you're watching it right now.
So David's going to draw off camera. If you're listening, just forget about your camera. Just draw, and then at the end of the show, fire it up again.
Simply Green says nude nuns with big guns was unfortunately not as good as the movie title might indicate.
That was a movie.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
How do
well,
you know they're nuns if they're nude? I mean, that's
I guess they probably still had that.
incongruous.
They probably had the head thing on.
Isn't
still.
that incongruous?
Oh, I think they probably still wore their little head bonnet things, and
I could see the wheels turning in your being there, Aaron.
I know. I'm trying to think of how did they pull that off.
Yeah, yeah. You're trying to break it down.
Yeah, it's, if I could see the storyboards, maybe I would. Ronan, of course, says this is what happens when you take a week off. Indeed, it is.
Why don't you? Okay, so what do you're getting distracted.
Yeah,
you have to decide what you're going to draw.
You guys, help me out. Should I draw Esther? I mean, I could draw, the Baroness. That costume's kind of
That costume's a killer. Yeah.
Yeah. And then who was the Dark Horse character not Barbarella, but that had the gun that Chris Warner created?
Yeah, I know who you're
on the motorcycle. What the heck was her name? They got Ms. Tree. Okay. Tara Chase. I don't know who that is. Agent Peggy Carter. That's a good one. And the funny thing is, I've drawn all of these. Well, I've never drawn Ms. Tree before. Everybody's like Baroness, Barbed Wire. That's who it was.
Barbed Wire.
Yeah. Yeah. David is struggling. Scarlet from G.I. Joe. Wesley Gleason says, I'm drawing Tank Girl with a bazooka.
There you go.
I don't like Tank Girl that much. Doesn't really do anything for me. Did Sally Forth have a gun?
She always held it in a strategic location.
People looks like people kind of want me to go Baroness here. I don't know. Oh,
Baroness is hard. It's because of her.
Oh, Judge Anderson. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about hard? That Judge Dredd costume.
Well, if you do it, especially if you do it in the Bolin style.
Oh my God.
Those eagle shoulder pads. And even the helmet's hard.
Henry Bemis suggests B. Arthur in a bikini with a gun.
Oh boy, you got some serious counseling sessions ahead of you.
Pagel from The Spirit.
There you go, right there. Long.
I already did Pagel though. You guys do you guys?
It doesn't matter.
Well, you don't want to go back to the well too many times.
Give her, her slinky dress and a Thompson machine gun, and that's a winning combination.
I think I still have that. I didn't sell any. I sold my John Carter sketch. Was the only sketch I sold at San Diego. I was stunned. But anyway,
Did you do commissions while you were there?
I only did 3. I'm very surprised. People are not coming to me for commissions. I wonder if it's just because I've been out of the mainstream for so long. Yeah, look, there's
Princess Leia. Kevin says Princess Leia.
Look at that. See, there's Pagel right there. Her bloody knife and The Spirit. I've already done Pagel, so I can't go back and do Pagel.
Wesley Gleason, Ripley.
Oh, Ripley.
Eric P. Laura Croft. Or Silver Sable. I think Laura Croft is better.
Geek Avengers for $5 says, be brave. Nuns versus zombies.
Well, what's with the plural? 2 groups of plural. That's a lot.
So I have to draw multiple nuns and multiple zombies. I don't know. Carbon Dioxide for $2. Jane's got a gun. Janie's got a gun. He's talking, of course, about the song, the Aerosmith song, I guess, right? Mrs. Peel.
Oh, from the Avengers.
Yes. God, there is a lot of them.
Yeah.
David, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
What do you think?
Brand new computer in the stock and stupid.
I'll tell you, man, you can't trust technology. What are you thinking? What are you thinking about drawing?
What is the theme again?
Are we doing a show or what? I mean, I don't know. Gals with guns.
Oh, who
Gal-
picked this?
Gary did, of course.
No, the audience did.
No, well, true. Well,
Yeah, and
could-
I was too lazy to come up with something on my own.
yeah, Comics for Life says I could do Kit Carter.
That's
I'm
true.
gonna do.
You'd have to rip her spacesuit, just kind of.
Yeah.
What's that metal chick from Authority?
Oh, yeah. What is her name?
She's in the new Superman movie that they're gonna ruin.
Man, we're getting some great suggestions from the chat.
Oh, Vasquez from Aliens, Red Monica. Well, she has a sword. though,
Craig
isn't it?
69 says Agent 99 from Get Smart.
The engineer. That's right, the engineer.
Yeah. Domino. Domino is good. I'm sort of
Danger Girl.
Danger Girl. Forgot about those. Jeez.
I'm picking the engineer so I could drop fake guns.
The Avenger hit a home run with Vasquez from Aliens.
Art of Roy says Lila Cheney from X-Men with Deathbird. I thought for a second it said Liz Cheney.
Yeah.
Yeah. With a gun.
Oh my gosh. That actually, and I'll send it to her. Go, what do you think of this? I'm kind of leaning Laura Croft now.
Laura Croft, that's a good choice. You'd have to give her what, like 2
handgun
11s.
Yeah, I mean it'd be a piece of cake. I can kind of fake the handguns, right? All right, I'm doing Laura Croft, I guess.
I'm doing the engineer. Get Dan,
right.
Get Dan in here.
I sent him
Dan.
a link. I sent
Okay.
Corin a link. I sent Dan a link. What can I do, man?
Dan, I think may have considered, I bailed those guys out too many times. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, so I went to a regular, and no one's ever let me down before like this. This is really tragic in some ways.
I don't know if I'd use the word tragic. but-
Oh, you wait. You just wait till the end of the show, and we'll see it. Maybe.
Okay, all right. I'll reserve my.
Reserve your judgment, man, because it could be.
Okay, so you're doing Laura Croft.
I'm going to do Laura Croft. I think I am.
And David.
He's doing the engineer.
Yeah.
The engineer. Okay. From and who's she from?
The Authority.
The Authority. Okay.
The Authorita.
Okay.
All right. So before we get to Gary's, of course,
Yeah, I was hoping you would regale us with San Diego.
Oh, dude. Okay. And I told
Wait. Don't even start. I have to go and get me something to drink before you lay it down. So talk about something else. Hold on.
He has to go and get something else to drink.
I don't know what's going on over there, but I guess it's warm in New Mexico, so he's probably a little parched at this point. But
that reminds me, I was watching a old Bugs Bunny cartoon.
nothing like it, man.
A couple nights ago, and Bugs Bunny was like referring to Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah.
Albuquerque.
I'm back.
Albuquerque.
Yeah, that's how Bugs Bunny pronounces Albuquerque. He said it a couple times. Alba, and he broke it down. Albuquerque. He was wanting carrot cake from Albuquerque.
Sounds like Matthew McConaughey. Hey.
Hey. Okay, so like I said, I got a couple, but we'll start with this one. This is Wednesday night, right? This preview night now at San Diego. So it goes from 6 to 9 o'clock, right? And let me preface this by saying that if you own a business, especially a restaurant business or a bar in San Diego, you know that you know what time this convention is every year. And you know that you're going to make 90% of your income for the entire year.
Just that week.
This 5-day stretch, right? Yeah. So you would think you'd be prepared. right? So I had Aaron Sparrow was helping me out at the booth on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then he took off. But so Wednesday's show closes, and we let's go grab something to eat, you know. So it's probably close to 10 o'clock by the time we hit the gas lamp district, Fifth Avenue, right, where all the restaurants are and everything. And we go from one to another, and they're like either closed or they're not serving food anymore. And I was like, you guys understand that there's a convention going on, right? I mean, I was so pissed.
And there's people, you know, milling about or walking around.
There's tons of people, but there's like, oh, we're still serving drinks, but no more food. And I go, you realize the convention didn't get out till 9 o'clock. And you guys are shutting your kitchens down at 10. That's ridiculous. So
you're still mad, I can tell.
I was so mad. So we walked around for several.
You better send somebody a stern letter.
I am. I'm really. And so then we go back to the hotel, and I'm like, okay, well, at least we'll get something to eat at the hotel. And they're still seating people. Actually, it wasn't even 10 o'clock yet because they said the kitchen closed at 10 and we were there at like 9:45. And so I you know, but they were taking forever to seat people. And so we asked the lady, are we going to be able to get food, you know, by the time we get seated? She says, yeah, but it's probably going to take about 45 minutes to an hour before you get any food. And I'm like, what? I mean,
yeah, what do you say to that?
Yeah, are you saying that half your shift, half your kitchen staff just left? I mean, what are you telling me? Because it wasn't that. I mean, it was full-ish, but it was a smallish restaurant. It's not like, come on.
Yeah.
And so we were like, no, I'm not going to do it. And Sparrow goes, I'm just going to go back to my place. And so he gets on the train and leaves. But not me. Not me.
I'll show them.
I go back onto the strip. I'm thinking, okay, I'll go hit the Broken Yoke, right? That's a breakfast place. They'll be open till way late, closed. And so I'm walking around the strip. I finally see this place. It's like a sports bar, big sports bar. And there's no line to get in, but there's still people, you know, in there, like a ton of people. So I'm thinking they got to still be serving, right? So I went in there and I asked the guy out front. I said, "You guys still serving food?" He said, "No, the kitchen's closed. We're still serving, alcohol." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what I should do. Is go in, just drink enough beer so it's kind of like a meal."
Right.
And, It's like, but he said, as I turned away in disgust, he said, "Well, we still have flatbread pizzas." And I went, "Well, no, wait a minute. That's food."
That's
So I go in.
Yeah.
I go in, and there's a sidebar interesting part to this story, because my waitress was this youngish, early 20s, blonde, cute girl. And so she comes up to me, and I ordered a Corona because I was in a bar, and I always feel guilty if I go in a bar and don't order alcohol, because they're like, that's how they make their money. So I ordered a beer and the pizza and the flatbread pizza. And she's like, "Do you want to, run a tab, or do you want to close it out?" And I said, "Well, just close it out."
She pegged you for a drinker.
Oh, yeah. And I said, "Just close it out." She goes, "Okay." So without a tip, mind you, for a flatbread pizza and one Corona, it was $34. $34.
A pizza for one, right?
Yes. I couldn't believe it. So I started throwing down with this chick, right? And no, I'm kidding. So I
brawl that spilled out into the streets.
Yeah, I didn't flinch because I didn't want to seem like one of those guys. So I was like, okay, that's fine. And so when I tipped her, it was like over $40 for this. So anyway, I see that.
Yeah,
girl.
I would have thought this better be the best damn pizza I've ever had.
I'll tell you, Gary, it was good. I will tell you this: it was really good.
Okay.
And maybe it's just some
back massage.
No.
Yeah. While I'm chewing.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? But so yeah, so this girl shows up at the con waiting in line to get an autograph from Humberto Ramos.
So you walked by and she was standing there?
Yeah, and which is right next to my booth. And I almost said something,
Okay.
but I thought I'm too old to say something. It'll be creepy, so I didn't do it. But I thought, what are the odds that you see this young, attractive waitress in one of these places actually is a comic book fan? Because I mean, it wasn't like she was just wandering around to see the spectacle. She was in line, to get an autograph from a comic book guy. So I was actually pretty impressed with that. So that was my first, what's Aaron's beef? That whole thing about them closing stuff down when you've got thousands of people there that are just getting out of the convention center. It made no sense.
You should have gone up to her and said, "Hey, come over to my table. I'll give you an autograph. I'll charge you $40.
$40 for it, and you can tip me on top of it." So the other thing that really got me was, okay, so Federal Express has an office right in the lobby of the convention center, right? So people can buy, big things and ship them out because they can't carry them on the airplane. Or those of us who shipped books in could now, conveniently ship them back, right?
So that's where do you ship your stuff there?
No, I shipped it to the hotel.
Okay.
But I thought, this is convenient. This is nice, right? We'll have this. So the show gets over at 5 o'clock on Sunday, right? Guess what time FedEx in the convention center closed up?
4.
3.
No, 5 o'clock.
Oh, so, right when they
right.
So you're still in the hall.
Right, exactly. So I get over there by about 5:45 with my boxes, and they're like, "Oh, we're closed." And wow. I said, and once again, I said to this girl, I said, "You guys understand you're at a convention, right?" I said, "This convention closed at 5 o'clock. You have thousands." I'm just berating this woman. I'm going, "You've got,"
and she's just some poor employee that has
I don't care who she was, okay? And you didn't care. And I said, I said, you literally have thousands of retailers in here who just are now getting their books and stuff they need to ship out, and they can't ship it out because you guys closed at 5 o'clock. I said, does that make any sense to you? And she's like, "I'm sorry, sir, we're closed." So I got
Aaron, your complaining techniques are making me look better and better.
I got her in a headlock and I rammed her head into the wall and then body slammed her.
A pile driver. Yeah.
I pile driver. So I ended up, thankfully, my hotel would ship out because they were like, "Oh no, you can do it here and we'll ship it out for you tomorrow." I go, "Wow, customer service. What a novel idea." Isn't
it kind of a sad statement, but when you actually do get good customer service, it's like, it's like the sun coming out and it's like, wow.
He really does care. Oh my God. Yeah. So, I was, a little upset. Maybe you can tell. Geek Avenger for $2. Then he wonders why nobody wants a commission. No, they didn't get a commission, Geek, because they couldn't ship it back home because FedEx was closed. There it is, Karen Lopresti. I'm not taking that. I'm not gonna take that. Oh,
right, you're pretty
right to be
pretty quick on the draw there with that cannon.
Look at that. Oh my gosh. What the heck? Aaron the uppity. Oh my gosh. Low blood sugar turns Aaron into the Hulk. I needed a Snickers bar. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so yeah, now I know that I have to predetermine how many books I'm going to sell on Sunday so that I can ship those back home. Oh my gosh, that's so stupid. Why wouldn't you at least be open until 6, an hour after the show closes? because you got fans leaving too, right?
Well, it's because every single FedEx location in San Diego closes on Sunday at the same time. That's why.
Yeah, I know, but I'm sorry. I'm just not going to put up with that crap.
Well, apparently you did.
Well,
Yeah,
not without letting them know that I was having issues with their decisions here. James, Sequential Treasures says for $2, Aaron doing his falling down impersonation. It's a good thing I wasn't a guy with a gun, because, I'm telling you, man, that Gary, come on, you sympathize with me, don't you, on this?
I
angry
I actually think you
Gary
handled
used
that
to be a
very well.
FedEx guy.
What was that, David?
Gary used to be a FedEx guy, right?
Yeah, I worked for FedEx for a while.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah, their policies are insane.
Gay socialist Blue Boy Comics is mocking me, saying, "Ha ha ha! Free market at work! Ha ha ha!" Yeah, well, that's true. If it was the socialist communist society that he wants, there wouldn't be mail at all.
Well, no, see, that did work, because you went back to the hotel and they were happy to fill that gap.
That's right. So
and you tipped them generously.
I
correct?
did.
Yep. So that's free market wins again.
There you go. So Blue Boy, ha!
But that's what free market is. It's filling the gap.
That's right. So yeah, well, but see, he's laughing. But my point is being that if you are operating in a free market society and a capitalistic society, your concept is to make money.
To make money, right.
And to be smart about how you set up your business so that you can maximize that.
Yeah.
So when people don't do that, it's kind of like, why do you even have a business? If you're not smart about how you run it.
But it's, the people who work at that store, they don't give a rip about how much money their company makes. They're just going to collect their paycheck at the end of the week and go home.
Right. But shouldn't the company then should be saying, you guys,
right,
we're going to be open until 6 here for this or whatever.
They need an undercover boss in that situation.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I went to the printers at I drove over to the printers. I knew they closed at 5, and this was prior to this is way before San Diego, so it wasn't like a necessarily a big rush. But I thought, man, if I could get this in tonight, I can get it out of the way. And so I get over to the printers. I get there now. Granted, it was 4:57, right, and they closed at 5. The doors were closed, locked, and the lights were off at 4:57. So I'm like, well, what time did they actually close down then? We're open till 5, except we're really not.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're going home.
I guess so.
Yep.
I never did that, man. We would start when I worked retail and stuff, like way back in the day when I worked at like Monkey Wards, Montgomery Wards.
What did you call it?
Monkey Wards. Didn't you call that when you were a kid? That was like a big joke. We always, and in fact, when I got hired there, they told us, they said, do not refer to us as Monkey Wards. Do not do that.
So that's part of the.
Yeah. Honestly, they did say that. They go, do not refer to this company as Monkey Wards. But anyway, when I worked there, we knew we closed okay at 9 o'clock or whenever it was. We'd start, and stuff, 15 minutes before, but we were still open. If somebody came running in at 8:59, we were still open.
Yeah. The chat is multiple complaints about your audio, Aaron, that they're saying it's choppy, and I've not noticed that. You're coming in crystal clear on my end.
It could be my anger is blasting so hard at the microphone. We're getting like feedback or something.
How's my audio?
Smooth.
Yeah, but no, it's fine for me, but there are multiple people saying that it's
John says the
breaking up.
entire feed is choppy. Really?
I'm not getting that.
Not either. It's sunny here, but it's not stormy.
David, how's yours?
What?
Are you hearing me clearly?
I hear you perfectly clear.
Okay.
But I'm not looking at you through YouTube. I'm looking at you from.
Right. Well, here we go. Blue Boy says it's on YouTube's end. All three of you are all fine. So he's probably watching on Twitter, which means we're probably doing okay. So I'm going to blame somebody else. It's YouTube's fault, not me. I'm clear as day. I got rid of my Wi-Fi.
So once again, free enterprise. Go to Twitter.
That's right. I got rid of my Wi-Fi, and because I was always choppy and breaking up on, I was doing streams, so I got a hard cable wired in to the.
I want that, but it's not around here.
So
go back to the old-fashioned, plug it directly into the computer.
Yep. Last night we were talking about San Diego, vintage San Diego stories, and people were bringing up pictures, from the 90s and stuff. Fraga had a picture of, I think it was 80, it was like 88 or 89. And when the convention was still in the Civic Center in the middle of town there. Mm-hmm. And he had a picture of like Artist Alley. And it was like Silvestri was in the foreground. Jim Lee was next to him to the left. And some other image guys. And then in the background was this guy at the far end of this island of artists in Artist Alley. Had his hunched over drawing, and it was me. And I was like, wait a minute. Who's that? It's like when you see one of those photographs and go, here's the shooter right here. And you look and go, wait a minute.
I know that guy.
And I was like, that's me. So it was pretty funny, actually. I don't remember ever sitting that close to those guys, but back in 88 or 89, I didn't really know who they were.
Right. Yeah.
They were just getting started too.
Yeah. They were just regular dudes.
Yep. So did you ever go to the show when it was in the Civic Center?
Yes.
Did you, David?
Yeah. Remember me, you, and Steve Matson were sitting next to each other?
That was at the Civic Center?
Yep.
I loved that because it was just like
I liked it.
Yeah, it was a total comic book show. There was nothing in that room but artists and comics and comic related stuff. And then in the other hall across the hallway there, that other room was where all the publishers were. And they would do the art show, the art auction. We'd go up there and do something for the art auction. And it was like the world's biggest comic book show. Now it's like the world's biggest multimedia event, and it's like not even close to being the same thing.
What was the Boris the Bear guy name? What was his name?
Jim Smith.
Jim Smith, he was there.
Okay.
And we were sitting across, and it was Brian Stelfreeze was new there. That's where I first met Jason Pearson for the first time, and Adam Hughes. And then right across from them was Jim Lee, Wills Portasio, Scott Williams. And we were sitting like in the corner, like in this little enclave, just little area right across from them. And the opposite table was Dennis Cowan and Mike Grell. No, it wasn't Dennis Cowan. It was Mike Grell. Dennis Cowan came over to visit. And this is the first time I met Jerome Moore and Jason Palmer, and they were just walking. They weren't, guest artists there. They were just seeing everybody, and just like everybody who was coming up was at that show during that era.
What year was that?
Do you remember what year?
89, 88, 89.
Yeah, I was there.
everybody.
What was that
Charles
no-name
Vess
guy?
was like right up there, and so was huh? Oh, the other is Todd McFarlane was there, but I don't think he had a table, but he was walking around and he was already popular, and he was going around like showing some pages from some DC thing he did, and he was just like blowing everybody away, and I was just like, meh. I was like a nobody, and I was still like, meh. But there was really great artists just in this small little area, and it felt like the best comic book convention ever. And they kind of separated us from the other artists. Like there was Charles Vess, and there's was it Clint Williams? Who's the guy who did that Wolverine book that was painterly at the time? That
Yeah.
Oh, Kent Williams.
Kent.
Williams. Yes, he was a really nice guy. They put all those types of artists around the corner away from us because they were considered the artsy guys and stuff like that.
Right.
And we were all the up and comers, so we were pushed off around into to the side.
Well, but there wasn't that many guys there, and everybody was at their table. Not like when it got later, people would get a table, but they'd never show up.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it was artist alley in the truest sense, and they don't do that anymore.
And it was fun because we actually like went out to eat and got to meet new people all together. We went to go see like movies together when they were first premiering. This happened years later. We would all go and see like when Terminator 2 came out. We all, in the same theater. There's Adam Hughes. There's, the newly forming Gaijin Studios, and here's, Dave Stevens is over there, and here's this guy and this guy, all in a movie theater. Like if they would have dropped a bomb in there, it was like comics wouldn't see what
we know them.
It was that powerful of talent that was just all in one place, in a real comic book community, at that time. It was really cool. And it was not like a big bunch of huge egos, so it was cool.
Nowadays you'd be sitting next to somebody selling like belt buckles.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I mean,
cruelty-free belt buckles,
of course. I'm still Adam didn't show up this year. He scratched, and so I guess they made his booth available to this Disney guy who was like we talked a little bit, really good painter, but he painted, like Disney product art and stuff like that. And looked like he was pretty busy, as you can imagine. And then behind me was Humberto Ramos, and then Joyce Chin and Arthur Adams, and Bruce Timm was supposed to be there, but I never saw him. So I don't know if he actually was there or not.
Shouldn't he have been promoting his new Batman cartoon?
I would guess so.
He may have been doing program stuff.
Yeah, they told me last year that Bruce Timm was coming in, and so they had to like clear out some people, and they were trying to get me to let them, share my booth. I'm like, yeah, no. But,
and I'm positive that's how you said it.
Yeah, well, not as much for kind, but I was kind of like, yeah, Bruce Timm wants to share my booth with me. Yes, that I'll do. But so I never saw him there. So I don't know if he was there or not. I mean, Arthur was coloring this. It was like I guess I should have talked to him. There was always people in front of him. I said hi to him real quickly, but I didn't get a chance to really talk with him. But he was working on this double page spread. It was like a wraparound cover for what was the X-Men book he did? The New Mutants.
Uh-huh.
And it had like 1 million characters on it, And I wasn't sure if it was he was coloring a print, or if it was the original he was colored, but it doesn't make sense that he would have colored the original because he doesn't really often do that.
Yeah.
But it was cool nonetheless.
Interesting. Him doing that at the show.
Yeah, I mean, he was coloring it, and I was just like, so I don't know, maybe because it was like I remember he had all these prints up, right, and they were like $25, $35, and then he had this thing up, and it was partially colored, and I believe he wanted $1,500 for it, and I was like, okay, well, it can't be an original because he would have it'd been 15,000, and so I thought, well, I couldn't figure it out, but then I saw him actually coloring it later in the show, and I was like, oh, so maybe he's hand coloring this print, and it's 50.
That might have been a commission.
Yes, but why would he put a price on it though if it was a commission?
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I would assume someone bought it, but Arthur's not a guy who has trouble making money at those shows.
No. Yeah, I do the same thing. You're wondering if he sold it. He'll be okay if he does or not.
Yeah, because he'll find somebody eventually that will pony up.
He wasted 3 hours on that piece.
Gosh darn it. Steve Matson came by, and actually he got
What?
Yeah,
I
Matson.
thought he quit.
He still goes to shows.
He still goes to shows.
Oh, that's cool.
And so he actually
I mean,
got a commission from me. So he was one of the guys, and someone else, one of our regulars here. I can't remember what his stage name is, but Mike was his real name, and he wanted Lady Death. So I did that, and then I just did a headshot of Kit Carter for somebody, and that was the extent of my commissions.
What did you draw for Steve?
Well, he had a one of those sketch cover things. So he had Conan Wonder Woman #1, but with a sketch cover on it.
Hold on a second. There's a Conan Wonder Woman comic book?
Yeah, I drew it. 6-issue miniseries. Gail Simone wrote it. I drew it. And this was several years ago, obviously. And they put it in a trade hardcover, but they never did a trade paperback, which I thought was interesting.
How many? Conan must be the most prolific time traveler of all characters. Because he's teamed up with pretty much everybody.
Well, and it just goes to show you his the longevity of it, the popularity of the character.
Ted's Den says Gary has a new beef.
Yeah,
so I remember being at a show in the 70s before I was professional, and Roy Thomas. It was a panel with Roy Thomas and Frank Bruner.
Oh, really?
Frank Bruner was working on a Conan story at that time. And they were talking about this what if story of that Roy was writing, where Conan comes to the modern times, and he's walking around the streets of New York, and a Volkswagen accosts him in the middle of the street, and he deals with the Volkswagen and curses Vicrom, blah, blah, blah. And Roy Thomas, as he's telling the story, he's cracking up. And I'm like, you think this is a good idea? You think this is gold? Just the way he was telling it, I could tell he thought it was gold. And I just was like, oh, brother. But I think John Buscema ended up drawing it. And so I did buy it.
Well, didn't that end up being a what if? It was a what if.
It was a what if, yeah.
Yeah, Conan were, yeah.
Right.
Because
that started a whole industry of Conan, What if Conan, teamed up with Batman?
Well, the Wonder Woman thing, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, this is going to be dumb if they bring Conan to the modern day. but they took Wonder Woman back in time to the Conan.
Okay, so she time traveled.
Yeah, so she became like kind of this barbarian Wonder Woman. It was actually a really cool way to do it. So I give Gail credit for that, because I was like, if he's like in a New York taxi cab or something, I'm just like, oh God, I'm not doing this. But it was the other way, and it worked really, really well. I figured DC must have been happy with it, because like I said, they did a trade paperback in a hardcover, which, you know,
well, it sold pretty good if they're going to reprint it.
Yeah, and then, you know, usually you see it in a paperback first, and then if it keeps doing well, it ends up being in maybe a hardcover eventually. But yeah, they just did the hardcover, and that was it. They never did a paperback, probably because they lost the rights, or Dark Horse. Well, it was actually a joint project with Dark Horse.
Mm-hmm.
So I had an editor at DC, but then Chris Warner was checking everything. And I don't know if he was just busting my balls because he knew me, but he was busting my balls on some stuff. And I was just like, come on, Chris, jeez. I think maybe he was messing with me a little bit, but
Henry Bemis has a pretty good idea. What if Conan meets Sally Forth? That story writes itself.
What? You won't believe what happens next.
Yeah. You won't be able to even guess.
Oh my goodness. We have a pretty healthy audience today, guys, despite our shortcomings. Please hit the like and subscribe if you don't mind. We appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. And actually, maybe next week we'll have a full cast.
Captain Vip2 is asking, did he miss the beef?
No, we haven't done the beef yet. What time is it? It's 3:30. We could do the beef. Let's do the beef. Let me run this little intro here that we have prepared. Courtesy, I want to say it was Toshiro, but I'm not 100% certain, so forgive me. But somebody made this for me. I added a little music, and here we go. There it is. So what Gary's beef?
2 thumbs up. So my beef this week is reviews on Amazon.
I'm with you on this one, actually. I might agree with you.
I don't have a problem with most reviews. I buy a lot of stuff on Amazon. Anything from garage shelving to underwear. And I am a fan of, more or less a fan of their review system. And I read lots of reviews before I buy a product. The thing that gets me is people who write reviews for somebody else. And it's usually someone who's purchased and gifted an item, and they're writing a review for somebody else. And the thing that really gets me is that out of the hundreds, maybe thousands of reviews that I've read, it's never a guy doing that. It's always a woman writing a review for their husband or their boyfriend or their child.
So it's like, I got my husband this blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
And he loves it. And it's incredible.
Exactly. And there's, and so if someone got me a present and then asked me how I liked it, what am I going to say? Especially if it's the wife or girlfriend, you're not going to say, oh, this is a piece of crap.
Yeah, it's like, why did you get me this?
Right. You're going to give it a glowing review. And that's what, oh, my boyfriend or my husband loved it. But I don't blame the women because they can't help doing this. I blame the dudes for allowing them to do this. You guys have got to stand up for yourselves and write your own damn reviews. And so it reminds me of just, how what men have become. But this is kind of like this goes back a long ways. It reminds me of a story, and I'll end my beef with this story. So there's two long lines in heaven, and they're husbands. Two lines of husbands. One line is husbands who were dominated by their wives, and that line goes as far as the eye can see. And then the second line is husbands who dominated their wives, and there's only like 2 or 3 guys in that line. And the guys in the long line who were dominated by their wives are saying, okay, what's your secret? How did you do it? I mean, you guys are our heroes, but we need to know what's your secret. And the guys in the short line who dominated their wives say, well, our wives told us to stand here. So that's this week's What's My Beef.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Gary's Beef. Okay. Wait a minute, David, did you start over?
So what if I did?
No, just checking, that's all. It's totally within the confines of the rule structure that we've established on this show.
So yeah, that's never been done before.
Only by me, I think. Well, me and David do it semi-regularly.
Yeah, Kelsey just keeps at it until
it's either hell or high water, but you know what? He's going to see it through to the bitter end. When he shows up, that is.
Yeah.
So which side is she shooting, right to left or left to right?
I don't know. We're going to figure it out.
Okay.
Figure it out as we go. So I talked to, you talk to trying to get a vibe for what they think of the current San Diego Comic-Con or Comic-Con International. I mean, a lot of them are young and they don't have the framework to remember what it used to be like.
Yeah. But they're out wandering around and you're kind of stuck at your table.
Right. But the only thing I've gathered is unless you get like an older person, I think everybody digs the sort of, they're overwhelmed by the size of it. They dig that there's all this stuff there, a variety of stuff. And, but they're mostly just like, oh, there's so many people here. It's so hard to get around kind of.
Yeah. That's the number one complaint. It's so hard to get around.
But you don't see a lot of people coming up and going, I remember when this used to be a comic book show. There's a few, but most of them are me.
I think all those people stopped going.
Well, okay, here's the thing. I talked to Bill Stout, who I've got to have on my show sometime.
This year?
You didn't ask him when you were there?
Huh?
You didn't ask him when you saw him?
No, I talked to him last year. I didn't see him this year. I didn't get away from my booth. And I talked to him at great length last year. He's got a book coming out from Flesk, like this huge volume of stuff. And I said, dude, as soon as that thing's ready and you guys got to open the campaign, come on my show and we'll, give you a boost or whatever we can for it. And
is this like general illustrations or dinosaur stuff?
Well, no, it's like all of his comic book work. And you think, well, Stout didn't do that much comic book work.
No.
Yeah.
But he did a ton of it because he did it in advertising and he did it in underground comics. And
that's the stuff of his that I love. I'm not a huge fan of his dinosaur stuff because I just kind of get bored with it.
Uh-huh.
But his comic book work is it's incredible.
Yeah. And so that's the first volume is, that Flesk they're putting together. And, but anyway, we had a conversation this is pre-COVID, because sales and stuff had really fallen off for a lot of us at the show, and we're all starting to go, "God, is it even worth coming anymore?" and that kind of thing. And he sat there and said, he goes, "The guys that buy your artwork and buy my artwork, they're guys that are our age or older."
Right.
He said, and the way they've got it set up now is you got these younger people, mostly toy people, right, that want to get the exclusive toys and things. They set up multiple computers in their, their house or whatever. And so then when tickets go on sale, they buy up tons of tickets at once, right? So then the average guy that would buy artwork from me or Bill Stout or whatever, they can't even get a ticket to get in.
Yeah.
And then the ones who do, it costs so much to go to the show that they don't have a ton of money to spend on the floor.
Right.
And we were talking about this, and I was like,
and that's not just true for San Diego, it's true for all conventions.
Right. Ever since they become this incredible multimedia thing,
Right.
You're going to bring in all these movie stars.
They're paying appearance fees, and and you the fans who attend have to pay for that with ticket sales.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been to one-day shows recently. I've been to one-day shows where I did just as good at just a comic book show, none of the, celebrity stuff. Not a huge attendance, but, a decent attendance for a one-day show. And I would make more money at there because cost the people $10 to get in or whatever. And they're there to buy comic books and art. And that's all that's there.
Yeah. And I've been doing this for a couple of years now, that I make more and get more attention at smaller shows, comic book oriented, than I do at the bigger shows. So I stopped going to the bigger shows. I don't go to Comic-Con. I don't go to Rose City. I don't go to Emerald City, because I don't do as well. And then you have to lay out a lot more money.
I was just discussing this with Kevin just literally the day before yesterday.
Grievous?
And I was thinking, yes.
Okay.
And I was asking him if he was going to go to San Diego, because he's not that far from there, but he didn't go. And he said, "Oh, it costs too much, and just too many things to be distracted from what he wants to do." And it goes for everybody. You got to be the brightest light and the loudest noise maker there to get attention. And I was saying, well, maybe it's the onus should be on the artist to make himself a unique boutique to his fans. Just
I agree with that. You got to be smart.
Just say, like, Aaron, you got however many issues of your book. You start making deals with comic book shops or one-day events, to where you're going to them and you talk to your fans and you let them know and say, "Hey, I'm going to be here. Come fly out, or come drive out, or come see me here, and we'll make an event of it for the day." You know what I mean? And we'll have a talk, we'll do this and blah, blah, blah. As much as I don't particularly care for this person in their book, not the person, but their book, Eric July kind of does that. You know what I mean? I think he had a one-day event. "Hey, come and see me," and blah, blah, blah. And people came out to see him, and he was selling his wares, and he talked with them, and he ingratiated himself to them. And, that's good. I mean, that's smart. He's making himself his own thing, and he's not competing with anybody else, and it's smart. And I think more creatives, especially in this independent world, need to start thinking in those terms, and try to you get your product from whoever prints it, and get an overstock, and sign these books and make them specific to these readers that come out to see them, and you give them a little extra.
Well, I totally agree with that, because I think that you have to, and I don't do this, but I'm going to have to start doing it, because most of my sales still come from original art. But the people that are buying this original art from me are guys they like the DC and Marvel stuff, which I'm clearly running out of quick. and I'm not producing any new. So you have to get to a point where you're moving way more product, you know, your books and your prints and things like that. And they have avenues set up where you can like promote and say, hey, I've got an exclusive at my booth and all this kind of stuff. And I just never do it because it's just, you know, I always end up, it seems like every year that San Diego comes around, I'm scrambling to get ready, you know, instead of planning months ahead. And, but I think that's the way it's going to have to be going forward, because you can just get lost in the shuffle. And I have a great location. I mean, I have a great location, you know, tons of traffic going by, but that doesn't necessarily make anybody stop.
Right.
You know, they see the banners or whatever, and if they don't recognize my name, or if they're not looking to get a book signed, or oh yeah, those are the guys who do Planet Hulk or whatever.
And yeah, by the time they get to your area, they're broke.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's actually a good idea, and it's not just, you know, and it's not just YouTubing and you know, like on a show like this and saying, hey everybody, come out to San Diego. Well, you know, a lot of guys that are watching this show are not going to be going to San Diego or to any particular show that you might be going to at any given time. So you got to make sure that the people that do go to those, whatever show it might be, that they're getting the information that, oh yeah, Aaron LaPresse is going to be there and he's offering this. And I think that makes a big difference, or would make a bigger difference. So
Going back to a previous topic, Angela Curry is saying, I'm listening to Gary's Beef. I think I'm going to start writing reviews on Amazon. Watch it, Angela.
She's stirring the pot, man. She's always stirring the pot.
Yep.
Looking for trouble. She came to the
Was
right.
Angela being sassy with you on X? Who's that being
No,
sassy?
I was Creative.
Creative Faye. That was
Creative Faye.
Yeah, I've already dealt with her.
she.
good.
She did have I saw earlier. She said that she kind of apologized. She said, "Oh, I was just kind of, you know, having fun with you, Gary."
I know. Yeah, I know. It was
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah, we see that, but does she really mean it?
Yeah, there's some truth in every jibe.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know what I'm going to do next week. I've already got it figured out.
That's your pick.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it is or not, but I guess it is. I guess if Kelsey shows up, it'll be his pick. Well, if Kelsey shows up, it'll be his pick. But if it isn't, then I guess I'm picking for him. But I mean, this is so obvious, and we've never done it, and it's kind of vintage, so maybe that's why. But we've done like Kirby and Ditko, and you know, I don't remember who the other one was. You know, we've done that before, but I was like, well, let's do like Wrightson, Barry Smith, and Neil Adams.
Yeah, see, I've got a couple of lists like that. I think that's a good combination.
Yeah, because unless they pick Barry Smith, David has Batman as an option on either one of those. So that I'm thinking David.
Well, I just hope they don't pick Wrightson so that you could have a field day.
Yeah, Aaron for the win.
You can do Batman though, see? Because he did
I
Batman.
ain't doing no Wrightson Batman.
Just draw a big cape.
No, you just draw.
Yeah, right.
You draw David Williams Batman. You know.
Yeah,
that if they pick Wrightson, you better have Kelly Jones in here. Then you could compete with him for who's.
Wrightson. God, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
That would be awesome. Yeah.
He'd answer my messages. Jeez, man, him and Beatty never got back to me. Because Kelly Jones was like,
because you're black.
Huh?
It's because you're black.
Yeah, that's why. What do you think I am?
Aaron, there's something in the chat that I want to clear up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Did you finish?
Yeah, I'm pretty much finished, I guess.
So we're still waiting for those bigs to get back to you.
Yeah, well, Kelly Jones said he'd come on the show, but he wanted to wait until after his Dracula book got out, and which was months ago, and he never got back to me. So I'll reach out to him again. I mean,
follow up.
I had him on my Sunday show, so he would come on. I know he would, but it's just a matter of getting him, because he travels and does a ton of stuff all over the place.
Yeah, that would be cool. See, this is the one I was going to read.
John Smith. Now, John Smith, I met him the first year I was at the convention, so I've actually known him longer than my wife. I think I met him and Aaron Sparrow. They were both, just comic book fans, and And, you know, we started talking and, you know, then we see him every year. And then now he's like on the board of directors at the Comic-Con. So he's a good guy to know. But yeah, he was getting the original Lopresti stuff for $25.
See, John, I don't believe you. I don't think Aaron has ever sold any artwork for $25 in his life.
I know, right?
Wait a minute. I always was very practical. I was never the guy that was like, you know what? I'm going to put a $200 price tag on this, even though it's only worth $10. And if people don't buy it, the heck with them. I'm establishing my, you know, price. I always sold for what I thought I could sell it for. And you know, that's been kind of the case, but I've never had really big ticket items. I mean, I think I've sold some stuff, some covers for $2,000, like the Wraith covers and stuff on the campaign. But, you know, and I'll charge, you know, $1,200 to $1,500 to $2,000 for a cover, depending on what the cover is.
Right.
But, you know, I still got pages for, you know, really good Justice League pages for $250, $300, $350, which I think is, you know, that's a pretty good price for, you know, you get a page that has Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, and the Flash on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's not bad. So I've always been sort of the Kmart, but, you know, the problem is I've always needed money. And that's the thing. It's like, you have to go to those shows not needing.
They could smell the desperation on you. And,
right.
You know,
exactly right. That's exactly right. So you have to be able to go to these shows without needing money. Then you can charge whatever the heck you want. And if people don't buy it, then
That's right. Yeah. You sit there with a smug look on your face and leave the convention with empty pockets.
Yep. You know what? I still got all my artwork. I had it's Angela for 5. Thank you, Angela. Appreciate it very much. Correction, Gary. I said I was going to start with writing reviews for you on Amazon.
Angela, you're not helping your case.
Oh my gosh. I had a guy, I did the cover for I find this kind of ironic. They have an easy reader price guide now that is like got big print in it. So really? It's oversized. The cover.
Oh, they're definitely catering to our generation.
Right, exactly. And I did the cover for it this year. And it was Phantom Lady. So I did this Phantom Lady piece. Nice piece.
Do you have that?
Yeah.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
Every time I hear Easy Reader, I think of Morgan Freeman from Electric Company.
You think, yeah, it is kind of like that, the Electric Company, you kind of sound out the words and stuff. But
David, is that going number 3?
Yeah.
Don't worry about
it. I'm not worried. I'm just asking. I'm not concerned. I know you'll, you know.
Oh my goodness. But anyway, some guy.
Is that what you say to your kids when they ask you a question?
Yeah.
How does that airplane staying up in the air? Don't worry about it.
Dad, why are the lights off in the house? Don't worry about it.
Why are we eating pork and beans again?
Don't worry about it.
No, so this guy comes up to me and he grabs it off the table, hands it to me. He's like, I'll be back for this. So I held it for him. He never came back.
That's always, yeah. I think that maybe 1 out of 10 people actually come back when they say they're going to.
Well, I normally don't. This guy has bought for me before, so I don't know, maybe he just forgot or whatever. But anyway, there it is.
I don't think I've seen this.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's the big Overstreet comic book price guide. It's huge.
So is she like breaking free of these ropes, or she's like putting them on?
No, she's breaking free. You know, she's.
Ooh, there's the. There's this dude in the background. Ooh, there's Cincinnati Joe. I better tie myself
up. Here comes Cincinnati Joe. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so that's the one I did. And so anyway, so I still have it. I'm going to put it up on the old website.
That's very cool.
So yeah, you know, it's so funny because I was J.C. Vaughn, who is it now the president of Gemstone, and he started off as kind of a comic book journalist, writer, and he covered like the Ultraverse and stuff. So I've known him since the Ultraverse days. Really good guy. And I've been bugging him since he started working at Gemstone, like probably for 20 years or more, to let me do a cover.
You've been bugging him for 20 years.
I have, because that was like on my bucket list, was to do a Overstreet cover. Because, you know, I'm a big comic book collector, and it was like,
right.
And so I could never get one. And I thought, well, I know he likes me. Why wouldn't he give me a cover? And then you're thinking, well,
we have him over for dinner weekly for 20 years.
Well, you sit there and think, does he secretly think I suck? Why doesn't he give me a cover? So then, like, I don't know, 3 years ago, he offered me a cover finally, and I ended up doing the EC, the Three Witches, right? And so, and that turned out really well. In fact, Bob Jeppy, it's not Bob Jeppy, Jeppy, what's his, is it Steve? Yeah, Steve Jeppy wanted to buy it from me. And I was like, no, I'm going to hang on to this. You know, it's like my first Overstreet cover. And so then.
My first in the long line of covers I plan on doing.
Right. And so then that same year, they did a special edition for like Bob Overstreet's 50th anniversary, whatever it was. And so I did a cover. He called me and said, hey, do you want to do this special cover for, and I had like, I guess it's worth some money because there was like it was like 800 of them printed up or something. And they only went out to the Overstreet advisors. They weren't like made public. Mm-hmm. And it had a young Bob Overstreet on the cover and a bunch of weird aliens and different things like that. And then this year he asked me to do another one. So I've done like 3 covers in like 3 years after 20 years never getting one. So now I'm like, every year I almost expect it. Like, hey, where's my cover?
He might be making a comment on your decline.
My decline?
He's seeing the Biden syndrome, and it's like, I better get these covers out of him while I can.
Well, before it's too late, yeah. No, I figure I still got a few good years left.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, if you can still do that bowling stuff, then certainly I can still.
Is that your new benchmark? If Gary can do this,
well, no,
I can do anything.
Well, that's why. Well, Gary, you're older than I am, and if you can still do that, then I should still be able to. Shouldn't I?
Yep. I can't argue with that logic.
Yeah. So,
Aaron.
Oh, sorry. I didn't get over to Stuart Ings this year, which really depressed me because he always has well, maybe I didn't because I would have been like trying to bring back a bunch of heavy books. What am I looking for here? Oh, Stealth. Stealth X5 for $2. Thank you, Stealth. Says, you guys do some amazing work. Thank you very much. Of course, he's referring to me and David and not Gary because Gary's not doing anything.
And not Kelsey.
I'm working here.
That's true. Your amazing work is not talking about the artwork, just the way that you handle yourself on the stream.
Yeah. My professionalism.
That's right. Staying on top of those super chats and so forth. Oh my goodness. This actually
nobody could blow a kazoo like Gary.
Yeah, I don't have any of the. I got a fart gun. That's the only thing I've got. Do you see those? They're from like Despicable Me.
No.
You've never seen those?
No. I have not seen that movie.
Well, yeah, because your daughter's the wrong age.
Yep.
All right, here we go. So I got this for Christmas. See, this is the kind of stuff I like getting for Christmas. Don't get me socks and underwear and stuff. Get me this.
Does that shoot the sound like across the room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
It's all wet.
Can I get that on Amazon?
I think you can.
Would some female buy that for me?
Yeah.
On Amazon?
Very a fart
Could
from,
you review it for him?
Right.
yeah, it's
Angela?
what are those yellow guys? What are they called? The little yellow guys that run around with him? That's,
Minions?
yeah.
I said, oh, Minions.
Minions. Yeah. This is like one of the Minions fart.
I like that a lot. See, this is coming from someone that used to bring whoopee cushions to church.
Oh my God. Gary, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh.
It was madcap hilarity.
I'm sure your mom was just thrilled.
No, I did it when I was like older.
Oh my gosh. You did it when you were an adult?
Yep. Well, college.
College. Yeah, I guess it doesn't really constitute adulthood, does it?
No.
Open up the book to Ephesians chapter.
Oh my gosh, Gary.
That's how. They could tell the person laughing the loudest was the instigator.
He's on the book
Yeah.
of
It was
Deuteronomy.
never hard to catch you.
No, never. Yeah.
Yeah.
Henry Bemis says Gary did it last week.
So true. Oh, remember when Uzis used to be the thing? Everybody drew everybody with Uzis. I think because they were just so easy to draw.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the Punisher had
45. Yeah, the 45, the 1911 is very distinctive looking, but it's not easy to draw.
Well, no guns are really, but
That's true.
they're this complex machinery. I still, having done well, let's put it a different way. Having done over 130 pages of Wraith already, I still
you could draw a Colt with your eyes closed.
Well, I can pretty much, but if I still want to get like the details, I still pull out my Colt reference and make sure. Oh, don't forget about that little thing there.
Yeah, they're actually pretty complicated.
Yeah, and so it's guns are these like little, very complex little machines, and I hate drawing machines. I would rather draw a horse, which we all know how hard it is to draw horses.
Really, you'd rather draw a horse
than a car or a gun. I really would.
I'd rather draw a gun over chains. I hate drawing chains.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, chains. Yeah. Yep.
Take forever.
Yeah, try recreating Wrights and Frankenstein chains. I saved those for last.
I tell you, man, there's a special breed of people that draw like Danny Mickey, right? The inker.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
The guy is nuts. And
I think someone like him thrives on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they
Jeff Darrow.
They really enjoy
right.
They just really enjoy the new.
They get into it. Yeah.
I think Arthur Adams is like that too. He's kind of got that. He's got that Perez sort of vibe where he just likes drawing. Like he'll draw these, every Avenger ever, and you're just like,
yeah, right. He's got to, he's got to enjoy it.
No, they totally do that. I want to do something that they'll never follow me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one will. Yeah. Try and top this.
Yeah, top this.
Yeah. No thanks. No thanks. Did you guys, as I'm trying to figure out Laura Croft's boots here, you guys ever see that? There's a little meme going around, a comic book meme, and it's like, it shows Captain America's boot from 1965, the little pirate boots that he wears.
Right.
And
with
like,
Buccaneer.
Brian Hitch from the Ultimates, and it says, the reason you can't, comic book pages, you know, you can't do a page a day anymore, and it shows those Captain America boots with all the laces and the different stuff on it, and it's
The
like
military boots.
Yep.
I've said that for years. I said, you guys just made it harder for us to
Right,
produce
to
this
meet our
stuff on a
deadlines.
regular basis.
Yep, that's where you. That's where
And
you
the
get
funny thing is that he never even produced it on that schedule. So,
well,
but
that yeah.
everybody else has to.
Well, that's the thing. It's like
That's true.
all these guys that started this trend of this, like this super detailed stuff, they were always late, but they're beloved, right? And then guys like us are like, hey, get this thing done, man. They go, well, Adam Hughes doesn't do it this quick. Yeah, well, you're not Adam Hughes. I love that line, right?
Yeah, use those guys as your model.
Yeah, I still have to draw the same stuff Adam drew. Maybe I'm not drawing it as well as he did, but it still takes forever.
It's on time, yeah. Daniel Russell says, Aaron Lopez, poor man's Adam Hughes.
That's more true than I would care to admit, actually. It's
so that's you should next convention wear a t-shirt that says poor man's Adam Hughes.
I've been mistaken for Adam more than once. So
how so?
I don't know if that's good or bad, but
are you talking about your work or your physical appearance?
No, my work.
Okay.
You're not right. Jake.
It's like, wow, my mind was really.
Yeah, well, man, well, I told you guys, I don't know, maybe I didn't, but I had two major Adam stories where one, I was actually with Adam after WonderCon when it was still in Oakland. And there was that upstairs bar, you know, that had the balcony that sort of overlooked the lobby. And we were up there, he was up there finishing sketches that he had promised guys he'd get done. And so I was sitting up there with him, just, you know, because I didn't leave till the next morning. And Phil Noto was up there. And so he was working on these sketches, and these guys were waiting patiently for him to, you know, they were literally, the fans were sitting there on the couch waiting for him to get this stuff done. And so Adam's, doggone it. What's his wife's name, or his
Allison.
Allison, yeah, it just went right on my head. So if you're watching Allison, I apologize. But so Allison had her book, and she goes, Aaron, will you do Poison Ivy for me? I'm like, yeah, sure, because I wouldn't do anything, right? So I sat there and drew this Poison Ivy, and I had all my stuff with me because I hadn't gone back to the hotel yet. So I had all the colored pencils and all this kind of stuff. So I did this full color piece for her in her book because, you know, you didn't want to be the one guy who did the crappy piece in Allison's book. So these two guys and these two girls come up, and they're kind of been drinking, and the bar was closed at this point. And the guy starts going around, and Adam's sitting literally right across from me. I'm on this chair. There's like a coffee table in between us, and he's on this other chair right across from me. And this guy just starts walking around the circle, just looking to see what everybody's doing. And he looked, and I'm not kidding. He looks at Adam's stuff, goes over, and comes over and looks over my shoulder, and I'm working on this, you know, Poison Ivy piece. And he goes, oh my gosh. He goes, I'm such a fan of your work. And whenever somebody starts gushing over me, I'm almost positive they have me mistaken for somebody else. And he's just gushing, right? And just really, and he goes, I can't believe I'm standing here with Adam Hughes. And Adam is right across from me. And so he's working on this book or whatever. He kind of covers his face to keep from laughing out loud. And I'm just like, I went from like this, you know, elation to just totally humiliated. And I said, I'm not Adam Hughes. I said, that's Adam Hughes. And I pointed across the way. And he goes, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. He goes, your stuff is really good. You know, he goes, but you can't expect me to know every new guy that breaks into the industry. I know what I've been working.
New guy.
Okay, so that's like, yeah, he's just digging the hole deeper.
Yeah, and I said, I've been working in the industry for 15 years. And he was like, oh my gosh. He goes, well, I should just shut up. And I'm like, yeah, maybe you should. And
Yeah.
so then he's like, he asked me to do something for him. So I did like a Man Thing sketch on a napkin and gave it to him.
After all that, you're like, can I have something for free?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really love your stuff, dude.
Do you remember the San Diego that we flew down together from Portland? I think it was a Studio Source days, and it was like most of the group. And it was the morning of the convention, Thursday morning. We were arriving at the convention as the doors were opening.
Yeah.
And there was, I think you were in the cab, the Dodsons, Rachel and Terry, and maybe Matt Haley, and
no, we were
probably Carl Kiesel.
Yeah.
We're all packed in this, and the taxi cab had pulled along the curb outside the convention center and was trying to drive up to the taxi drop-off area.
Right.
But it was bumper to bumper, and so he wasn't going very fast. And Rachel's like by the window, and she's commenting on people that are walking along. It was already hot, and it was, like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
He was already hot, and she's like, and there was a guy walking right next to the cab with this portfolio, walking fast, and he was, matching our speed. And Rachel says, "Oh, look at that poor guy. He's sweating already." And we look out and see this guy. He literally had sweat dripping off his face. And I think either you or Carl, I can't remember, or maybe Terry said, "Wait a minute, that's Adam Hughes." And for some reason, none of us recognized him right away. We were just looking at this poor guy sweating buckets, and he had not arrived at the door yet, and he was like, it's just like, yeah, that's Adam Hughes.
Well, Adam has his booth right next to mine in San Diego. And so I had this one time, he had a line, and it always crosses in front of my booth. Right. But Allison's usually very good at pushing everybody back. You guys got to stand in the middle. You cannot stand in front of Aaron's table and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. To be the line crosser and not the line crossee.
Right. Exactly. And so this guy comes up, and there's this line. I mean, seriously, it's crossing in front of my table from Adam's booth. But there's a gap, a decent gap between where the people are standing at my table, right? Because like I said, she had pushed him back to the kind of the middle of the aisle. And this guy comes up to me and starts going, "Oh, I've always wanted to meet you. I love your stuff." And again, then I'm like going, "Okay, somebody else." And so he's just gushing over my work. And I finally go, whoa, slow down. I said, "I'm not Adam Hughes." And he looks at me like really embarrassed. I go, "Adam is right over here." I mean, there's banners behind me with my name on it.
Right. The name is everywhere.
Adam is sitting there at his booth with his banners with his name on it, and a line going all the way past me. And somehow this guy thought that I was Adam Hughes. And then, of course, the first thing is I go, "I'm Aaron Lopresti." And he's like, "Oh, I love your stuff too." That, and you're just like, oh, God. And so then he went and got in line with Adam, after.
Yeah. The one that I love is somebody will come up to your table and say, "Excuse me, do you know where Rob Liefeld is?"
That,
like, no, get out of here.
all that does is speak volumes down who you have at your table, right? Because they always look for the guy who's not got anything going on, and they come over and ask you,
"Yeah,
let me try to find blah blah blah," and you're like, do you see an information sign hanging up?
Exactly.
This? Am I? Do I have a time shirt on?
That one's a little late.
Gnomsky, how embarrassing. It was. Shameful. Paul Taylor, Adam/Aaron, both start with an A.
Yeah.
Angela, Adam, Aaron, Adam, same thing. More or less. All right, JW for $5. Thank you, JW. Gary, did you ever get any pencils that were so loose you thought, what the H. I've heard of artists leaving things like hands and such for inkers to draw.
The one that comes to mind right away is me inking Aaron on sludge. No, so Aaron, his pencils were super tight.
I almost spit up my water.
Yeah.
That close.
Me inking Steve Lytle on Doom Patrol was like that. His first couple issues, especially the first issue, was really tight. Very, very. All the line weights and feathering and all that was penciled in. By issue 5, he was doing layouts and I was doing finishes, but he was getting paid to do full pencils and I was only getting paid to do regular inks. But I was trying to like bridge the gap between the first issue and the 5th issue. I didn't just want to hack it out, and so I ended up doing finishes, but I regretted it because DC would not pony up.
That's the thing that ticks me off about, and it's a perfect example of how much the comic industry is like the movie industry. Because when I got out of film school, everybody was like, okay, well, you need to get like a production assistant job, right, on a movie, and then you kind of work your way up and get opportunities and you network and all that kind of stuff. They paid, and this was 89, $250 a week to be a production assistant in LA. And you're like, wow, okay, my rent is more than that.
Right.
And
right.
So, but they didn't care because they would say, well, if you don't take it, somebody else will.
Just get somebody else, yeah.
And that's kind of like,
the comic book industry in a nutshell.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, you want more money? You're fired. We'll get somebody else. Yeah, we'll get somebody else who will do all this work and not complain. So, but it was just like, I always felt like that the comic book industry was just like the movie industry, except there was no money. At least in the movie industry, you had a chance of maybe getting rich one day.
Yeah, that's true. There's no chance in comics.
No, I mean, well, there's like, maybe 20 people all time that ever really got loaded doing comic books.
Probably not even that many.
Yeah. So it was, and yet we did it gleefully because we just so badly wanted to be in comics.
Because we had a dream that one day
one day I would draw Spider-Man.
Yep.
Oh. But you know what? There was a period of time in comics, despite the fact that there was really no money in it, it was fun. At least in the sense of the stuff we were working on, and I mean, there was always deadlines, and it was always under pressure, and it was always this, that, and the other, and it was always trying to, impress somebody to break in. But when you used to go up to Marvel, or like you back in the old days, go up to DC, and you were just hanging around, and it was just like, it was the stuff you always dreamed it would be like, And
it wasn't what I dreamed about.
Well, I don't know. It was for me initially, just the excitement of working on that stuff. And
well, when you actually get the work, that's when it's fun. But getting the work, oh
my gosh,
that's the trenches.
Oh my gosh, that was and you could, it was one of the things I always told people, or aspiring artists or whatever, was, you got to be talented, but you got to be able to, to stay at it. And I mean, I did things.
That's the thing that I stress the most with portfolio reviews, is talking about endurance. That's endurance in your career, that you just hang in there. The ones that hang in there the longest end up getting the work.
Yep.
Paul Taylor says, plus you had all those hot female groupies throwing themselves at you. Oh, wait.
What? Yeah. A good-looking girl at a comic convention back in the 90s was like as rare as seeing a duck-billed platypus in the wild. You know, I mean, it's just like it never happened.
And that's what everybody was talking about for the whole convention.
Yeah, you see that good-looking girl, you know.
Yep.
But now it's
okay.
like,
See, David.
Gary, don't think anything racist.
Well, I had watermelon, and nobody made a crack.
what are you guys talking? I turned my head for a second. What is going on?
David's eating watermelon.
Oh, okay. I hate watermelon.
Really?
Yeah.
When it's cold and ripe and juicy and sweet and
No,
it's
I don't
like August. Seriously?
Dude, I do not like the flavor for some reason. I don't like melons at all. But
I'm not crazy about melons, but I love watermelon.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
it's pronounced watermelon.
Watermelon, is that?
Didn't he play for Utah?
Good old watermelon out of Utah. No, I never got it. I don't know.
So even if like you've got a perfectly cold, juicy, sweet, and crunchy, those are the four. Remove any of those, and it's no good.
That's right.
Well, yeah, I mean, soggy anything is not good.
Right, but I mean,
this is desperately needed because my air conditioner broke.
Oh no!
And so you're going to rub it all over your face when you're done?
Yep.
Seriously, dude.
Sit in front of a fan.
You have no air conditioning in New Mexico?
Just broke.
Ugh. You guys hear my dog?
Yep. Oh, Aaron, by the way, what's the time situation?
Oh, geez. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
We're way over. All right. We're going to have to wrap this up because I got to do a Star Trek show. And Gary has something that, let me make you big for a second here, Gary, if I may. Go ahead and tell the folks what you found.
Oh, a lot of you may know that I have just moved recently. And a couple of weeks ago, I found a bunch of inking books. Well, I did find another stash of inking books, but from the very first printings.
You're running a scam.
From the first printings, not the latest one. I don't have any more of those.
Oh, okay.
There were 4 volumes of the inking book printed. The first volume was published in 97. I have one. This is a first printing, mint condition, as the blue line in the back. These are like impossible to find now. They're super rare. Then Dark Horse came out with a volume 2, which is more material. That was published in 2002. Volume 2, more material, more artists, more blue lines. And I also found the collection of volume 1 and 2. This has all the blue lines of both volumes. This was published in 2005. And then the 4th volume was the collection of everything plus updates and the chapter on digital inking. That's the latest one that's sold out. I don't have any of those. But I also have inking book printed in Spanish. It was translated in Spanish. It was published in Spain. This was published in the year 2000. I have 2 of these. In 2007, the French version has the blue lines, everything, but in French. And 2015, Brazilian Portuguese. And they oversized this. They redesigned it. This is hardbound They redesigned it completely, different layouts and everything. They used my artwork and they added some of their own. And this is big. It's like 9 by 14. So anybody interested in any of these books, the foreign language books or volume 1 from 97, I only have one of those. That is $75. I have 7 of volume 2. That's $50. I have 1 of the collection of volumes 1 and 2. That's $70. And then all the other ones are $50 each. And so anybody interested in any of those, tell me what they want. inkart@earthlink.net is my email, and that's also my business email, and that's my PayPal.
Type it in
the original, this one, that's super rare. I don't know if you could even find it, especially with the blue line in it. But that's volume 1. Some of you who bought volume 1 didn't get volume 2. Like I said, I have 7 volume 2s. Only 1 of volume 1. inkart@earthlink.net.
So there you go. Gary is always selling. And today's
also the Portuguese, French, and Spanish versions.
There you go.
I do not, Captain Bip2, I do not have one in Hebrew.
That's what he was looking for. If you had the one in Hebrew, you'd have had a sale. But no. How about the original Greek?
I've got ancient Aramaic.
No, I knew you were going to say that.
It's on like a stone tablet.
It was, illustrated in my studio in the Castle Og.
All right, we're gonna have to wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen.
We have another super chat.
Oh, do we? Well, let's not wrap it up too soon then. Angela for $5. Speaking of melons, has D-Wams ever experienced a haboob? Oh,
excuse me, Angela?
Experienced a haboob. David, that's a question to you. Yeah, there's 2 haboobs right there. John Smith wants to know, Gary, if you have one in the original Klingon. That would be good too.
Aaron bought all those up.
Yeah, I have all the Star Trek editions. All right, let's take a look and see what I've accomplished today and what David has accomplished. We'll start with me. So I didn't get the inking done, obviously, but that's a pretty tight pencil, though. You know, it's not bad.
You gonna put a jungle back there?
Oh yeah, sure I am. So there you go. There's my Laura Croft in pencil, pretty tight pencil. So it wasn't a complete fail to get something done, but yeah. So for considering how wild and wacky this show has been, I feel pretty good about myself actually. So there you go. There's Laura Croft, Tomb Raider.
Yeah, that's a cool piece.
That's my gal.
It looks like Laura Croft.
And I will get this done here today sometime. For Peasy says she doesn't look British enough. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, what does someone look British?
Yeah. Uzi is too small, says Spambot. Well, you know, it's the pocket version.
It's foreshortening.
Yeah, exactly. David's got probably multiple things. Oops. Where are you? There we go. All right. So show us your various stages of the engineer.
Yeah, this was the first one. I didn't I was going to have like all these creatures coming up at her and going to tell a story. And I said, I forget that.
Sure you were.
That's too much.
No, I was. I had an idea, but I was like, and then I was like, oh, it would be cool. Just have her shooting something off screen.
Man, you redrew
shot.
her legs. I was going to comment on how great her legs were, and then you erased them and redrew them.
Yeah, no.
I like
And
that pose right there.
then I came up with the more dynamic, typical coming at you.
A lot of
Pose.
circles in that piece.
Yeah.
Got out the circle template. Rand Darrington says, now that's some haboob.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's the dictionary definition.
Oh, Spambot for $10 says, well, you tried. Thanks for the show and welcome back. Yeah, I think next week we'll be back to that well-oiled machine that you're used to seeing here. No, these are all great, David. You should finish at least one of them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I like them all.
I do want to take a moment here, if I can, real quickly, to mention that Kit Carter Planet Doom, the graphic novel, is still live, but will be ending very, very soon as Kelsey returns with the rest of my pages, which we're hoping will be very soon. And then there's also the early sign up for Wraith of God 3. That's active right now, and you will find the link in the description of this video. Also, David Williams is working with Ethan Van Sciver on Fearsome 1 and 2. So the campaign actually has the first issue and the second issue as part of the campaign. You'll find the link for that in the description of this video. There's some of the artwork. David's doing a fantastic job on it. So you'll want to back that. So those are the active things that are campaigns that the Graybeards have going right now. And like I said, the links are in the description of this video. So please, if you haven't backed, please check it out. As far as Kit Carter goes, like I said, it's going to be ending here hopefully in about a week. So make sure you get in there and back if you haven't done it. I've got sketchbooks coming from the printer right now. I've got the posters are on their way here. Just about everything the campaign has done except the book. But it will be out shortly. So hang in there with me and make sure, like I said, if you haven't backed, check those things out and take a look and see if it's something that might interest you. Otherwise, guys, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Graybeards. I would love to promise we're going to have a full crew next week, but I will do my best to make sure we have more artists here next week to entertain you folks with their amazing skills. So enjoy the rest of your week. It's only Wednesday, but it'll be Friday before you know it. So enjoy your week and your weekend. Make sure you join me on Aaron Live Sunday afternoon. And we will see all of you right here next week on Graybeard's Studio. Good night, everybody.